Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Single Chronicles. I am your girl R.S. Lewis, aka Insomniac Writer, and today we got a few topics that we're going to be talking about. I got a few posts forwarded to me via TikTok, Instagram, social media about these passport bros because I've never addressed it, and I was asked what my take on it was, and yada yada yada. So I'm going to be talking about today, but I'm also going to be talking about the release of my good friend Andrew Tate, because we all know how I feel about that guy, and just a few other things and how I tie all those things in together. So if you are new here, make sure you heart, favorite, save, bookmark this podcast or whatever you got to do, wherever you're listening at, so you can be notified of future episodes and stuff. For everyone else, welcome to the Single Chronicles. Hey. Missing someone. Missing someone. So I'm back. Thank you so much for tuning in, folks. I'm live on TikTok today. I'm recording the episode for next week. So if you're watching this live, you're in for a treat. The Single Chronicles, yes, this is my baby. This is what I do on a Friday night. I rant and I complain. But before I really proceed, I want to say thank you for supporting me as always, listening in, tuning in, reacting, downloading, all that good stuff, especially on Spotify. I see the love. I get the stats and all that other good stuff. So I really appreciate you. Secondly, thank you for the likes. Appreciate y'all. Pardon my voice. I am very nasally because I had something and I'm feeling better. Thank goodness. I still, I'm getting better, should I say. But yeah, I had to take a break from recording. I had a shit show week. The 1 week I didn't get off of work till late, and then Friday nights is the Sabbath, so I'm like, damn, what the heck? And then after that, I got sick, and I was like, I ain't going in nobody's studio. I'm going home. So anyway, today, what I want to talk about, somebody sent me, a thing with the passport bros, and I have not talked about this because I'm like, yo, if somebody wants to get the passport, first of all, that's banging. Get your passport, and when you do get it, don't be like me and let it expire because I did that, and I can't even blame the pandemic because my shit expired before the pandemic. So that shows the last time I traveled out of the country. I mean, I have traveled, but it's been domestic. But still, don't let it expire. Be better. Do better than me because I let my shit expire, and I knew better. But we're not talking about me. We talking about everybody else. So I don't care why or what inspires a person to get something like a passport, to get a job, or to get fit, or do anything for that matter. That's beautiful. And let that be a reason to see the world. Don't let seeing the world just be, because you just, oh, I need to find a mate. Yeah, we all want to find a mate. We all want to find somebody. And that's beautiful. Cohabitation, falling in love, whatever. I don't care what your reasons are. Um, Being with another person, even if it's just some friendship type stuff, that's dope. I don't mind that. My thing is, on both sides, everybody, I hate this point the finger shit. Like, you do have some women that are mad about it, are complaining about it, like, and then you got some other women saying, well, you ain't want them anyway, da, 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 da. And then you got the guy saying, well, F all these women. First of all, what I hate about this conversation and why I never really addressed it, and this is going to be the only time that I do, um, my thing is, it's nobody's business. Who gives a shit? I don't want you. You don't want me. Go on about your business. You know what I mean? I hate this idea that you gotta want me. You know what I mean? And if I don't want you, you still can keep wanting me. It's like it's weird. I see this a lot. Like, people will be like, I had a friend. He's married now. One of my closest friends and business partners. Um, he got married, but prior to that, he had girls. He wasn't out here being a saint, but he had some females that did not really want. He had one in particular hopped in his inbox not until he got married. He was like, "But I was single for a whole long time before I got married. Like, now you jumping and talking about all this other stuff." So a lot of times we want like that one that got away, and you know what I mean. I guess that's maybe where it comes from. I can't explain, but I think it's stupid. If you don't want somebody or they're not for you, keep it pushing. My thing is, um, and that's for the ladies. Like, just keep it pushing. Don't worry about what they doing. Do you? But my thing is for the guys. You know me. I don't. point fingers at anybody. I'm telling everybody off. I'm like my grandma. I get that. That's why I'm named after her. I'm gonna tell both of you about yourselves. Nobody gives a shit. If you don't want these females that don't want you, nobody gives a shit. You ain't got to be bragging like, "Hey, everybody, I got this passport. I'm gonna go find a woman that loves me." Go, bro, go be great. That's fine. That's perfect. Go on about your business. What I'm starting to see, what I hate, what I see is that they classify all women and be like, well, all women this, and all black women. Like they classify just as like we blaming us. Like, bro, like what did I do to you? I was on a comment. I think I commented on something that someone said. Of course, I looked at the vibe of the comments and the followers, and it was like we hate women, we hate feminists. And I didn't even say anything. I just posted an emoji. Somebody went to my personal page on Instagram, saw that it said at that time feminist, because I took that off. I don't want to really put that. I'm a free thinker. I think that when you're doing something wrong to some other person or group of people, you should be called out on it. It doesn't matter who or what they are, who or what you are. I'm calling you out on it, especially marginalized people. But that's not the point. The point is at that time, that's what was in my bio. And I've since changed some of my views where I still have some feminist views and I have some views that are not so much feminist. But anyway, the point was, homie just started coming at me. And I'm like, bro, all I did was post an emojis. "Well, you hate men. Blah, blah, blah." How do you know that I hate men? Like, he was like, yeah, feminist, this. He just started going and he know me from a can of paint and you know nothing about me. And I was just like, whatever. I'm not even gonna give you the attention you crave. I did give him the attention he craved because I was going back and forth. And then I thought, the fuck am I going back and forth? You don't know me. You don't know nothing about me. You know what I mean? And I'm not gonna sit up here and engage in a battle with an unarmed person, aka someone fucking stupid. So I left it alone. But I've noticed that people a lot of people like to generalize a whole group of people based off of the last person that hurt them. Like it'll be a guy and be like, oh, he'll choose a girl that ain't shit, or he'll be with a girl that ain't shit. Sometimes it ain't about you choosing. I've said that a lot in the past. Sometimes it's basically a person. They'll be a wolf in sheep's clothing. They'll make you think that they're this way, and those red flags. No matter there's always red flags. There's always fucking red flags. But at the same time, sometimes we ignore those red flags and we don't pay attention to who the person is or whatever the case they might got going. And what they do is they'll generalize everybody based on that. Like just because one black woman hurt your feelings, all black women is this. Just because all Latino, like one Latino woman like slash your tire, all Latino women are crazy. Like, bro, come on, stop doing it. And females will do it too. Oh, all niggas ain't shit. Excuse my language. That's not always the case. Not all people fit that mold. Like you can't generalize a whole group of people based off of one or two people. Because I had to ask myself at one point, I kept saying, oh, the like I was like me, I'm openly pan, obviously. I don't hide my sexuality. But at one point I was like, all the men, da 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 da. Then I was saying, well, all the females, da, da, and I was like, it's just Philly. No, it's not. I am gravitating towards these types of people. And until you recognize what you are, what you got going on, what your problems are, what your issues are, you're never going to get to the bottom of why these you keep ending up in these types of relationships. You know what I mean? And I always tell folks this, and I said this before, look at your past, look at the past 3 relationships that you were in. Did they last about the same type of time, length of time? You know what I mean? Did they go about the same amount of years, months, whatever? Also, what were the other similarities between that person and the persons before that? When you realize that that's a pattern, that these is not all the women, it's just all the women you've been with. It's not all the men, it's just all the men that you've been with. So when you start looking at the pattern, it's like that's how they figure out serial, you know, Michael Myers type. Like Michael Myers had a type. If you was babysitting around Halloween in October, he was gonna murk you. So um that type of thing has had folks uh it just it boggles me that people just don't figure out that there's a, you know what I mean, there's an issue is there's a pattern, and we don't recognize those patterns. We ignore the red flags. We ignore the patterns of those red flags, and you should damn work me out. I'm comments. That's funny. But we don't recognize it. And we just be like, we keep repeating the same thing. And then instead of looking within and looking at the man in the mirror, like my man Mike said, the other Mike, um, we blame the other folks. Like I had to do some soul searching. I had to look back. It always goes back to basic psychology. What was a relationship with your parents? Because usually that will tell you the types of people you want to be with. And I'm not saying your parents had to be abusive, crazy, on drugs, do some issues or whatever, but it might have been some other psychological traumas that might have been there. It might have been anything. And sometimes it's geographical issues, but we're not gonna go that deep. But the point is that a lot of these people don't heal and move on completely. What they do is they'll say, well, those groups of people are the problem, and I'm basing them off of the few that I've been exposed to, or the ones that I denied or got denied by or hurt by. So it's all of them. So now I'm gonna go to another country and hope to find the solution to my problems. I want a woman that's going to be submissive and listen to me and blah blah blah. Blah. But my thing is that you got to ask yourself, what exactly do you want her to submit to? Yep. See, staying single. This is why you got to stay single for a minute and heal. You know what I mean? You got to heal. Like you can't run away from your problems. It's just. I think I use this analogy. I remember when I fucked up my knee playing soccer, and I lied and told my coach I was cool. And like a couple weeks later, because I didn't want to tell him that the doctor was like, I don't recommend you not playing. He didn't say I couldn't play. He said, all right, I'm gonna let you sit out some more games. He was like, I would recommend you not playing the entire um season. Sit out the season. I'm like, no, that's my senior year. I'm not sitting out the season. My senior year. Are you tripping? My dumb ass. I did not heal this knee of mine fully. And of course, I went the rest of the season. I wasn't playing to my 100% potential. And I wasn't, you know what I mean? I was in a lot of pain. I wasn't in a lot of pain. I would just dope up with damn Advil or whatever. It was the 90s. It wasn't like fentanyl and bullshit out there like that. So I covered it up, wrapped it up, did the same thing a couple years later when I hurt my knee again. Hurt my knee the day I had a Zumba class. I had a big class, a bunch of people registered. They was coming. What did my ass? I didn't cancel the class. I wrapped it up, took some Advil, some Aleve, my little cocktail of painkillers, and I taught the class. Later on down the road, I end up having severe injuries and arthritis and all these issues with my knees because I didn't heal. I didn't allow my body to regenerate and recuperate. And that's the same. We do the same thing mentally and emotionally, and then wonder why we end up in these fucked up situations. So that takes away our chance to be accountable because, well, I was vulnerable. I didn't know any better. No, stop it. The art of being accountable starts with looking in the mirror and saying, all right, first and foremost, I don't think I should just hop into something else with someone else because I didn't get over the shit that the last person dealt with. Now I'm embittered and now I'm taking and projecting. So now that new person is going to be taking the blunt force of my issues and my hurt and my trauma, and now they're going to react to that, and now they're going to leave me, and then it's going to start this cycle. And next thing you know, I'm on this fucking hamster wheel, and instead of just hopping off the wheel and healing and getting my shit together, I keep dating, keep getting back on to thinking the only way is like dating is not the hair of the fucking dog. You can't just be like, all right, let me get over this hurt with some new hurt. No, no. So we do that, and then what I hate about it, you know what I mean? We start having these mannerisms. We start being assholes to other people. Weird. Don't get me wrong. Dudes be doing some weird and creepy shit anyway. And then instead of just taking some of that with a grain of like salt, like, all right, I'm gonna take you what you're saying with a grain of salt. How am I creepy? How am I being weird? Or bro, you just sat in the corner and stared at me for 20 minutes. That's a starter. I don't know. But the point is, we have these issues and these qualms, and instead of looking and seeing, well, why did these three people say this? Maybe it's some truth to it. So if one person says something about me, and then all right, I might shrug it off like, oh, maybe they just hate it. Then another person says it, all right, it gotta be maybe someone's on to something. But if three or four or five, six, seven different people say the same fucking thing about the same person, regardless of what their relationship or dynamic is with that person, then guess what? There might be some truth to what they're saying, and maybe I need to do the inner work. So, you know what I mean? Me personally, I don't know or care to know how long that is. That's a healing is a different amount of time for everybody. It doesn't matter if it's a physical healing or a mental and emotional one. That takes different times for everybody, depending on how much past trauma you got. If it's a physical thing, it might depend on, how many other health factors you got. So all these things that we deal with and we have to take into account will affect the length of time that we have to heal. So I just tell people to just be, mindful of that. But nobody listens to me. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Text and I don't think it matters to make them. It doesn't matter if it's male or female. This applies to every human being on the planet. You know what I mean? You can't fucking move on unless you heal. And it doesn't matter what kind of healing that is. It could be a physical, mental, or emotional one. If I break my foot right now, do you think I'm gonna be able to go and teach a dance class tomorrow? Fuck no. So, like the same thing applies to the matters of the heart. If someone breaks my heart or I break their heart or whatever the case, I go through some mental turmoil with another human being. Or even if it's not that. Let's just say, heaven forbid, I'm dating someone. I live in Philly and they get shot, which is a high probability. I gotta heal. I gotta grieve. You know what I mean? So I can't do that and expect to be any good to anybody else. So I'm just saying, as far as how this relates with these passport rules and whatnot, yeah, travel, see the world, but don't do it just because you find it for the sake of finding a wife because you don't want to deal and do the work with yourself. You don't want to work on you. You know what I mean? You want to just sit up there and talk about how, oh, black females, da 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 da. Da. Like, first of all, I don't give a shit what you're attracted to. It doesn't matter if they black, white, you know what I mean? Uh, it don't matter. Purple. I don't care. I don't care if they don't even speak English. The point is that don't shit on a whole bunch of other people that had a few folks that didn't fuck with you. So you want to shit on them and then get mad when you find the same thing in somewhere else. My thing is, like I said, I don't have a problem with people going to get their passport, traveling to see the world. I love traveling. That's my thing. And I'm in the process of renewing my passport because I'm tired of traveling and doing, all throughout the US. But the point is that I like to. Even if I go by myself, even if I go with the family, whatever the case might be. And I'm not talking about just a couple states over. I'm talking about really hopping my ass on a plane, or even if I drive, whatever. I'm doing the thing. I'm getting the fuck out of Dodge, and I'm just seeing the world, learning something new about the culture. You know what I mean? Tasting new foods if they adhere to my new lifestyle. And just enjoying life. I'm not doing it like we'll do all these weird things like, oh, I gotta find a man, I gotta find a woman. No, find you first. How about that? You know what I mean? And it's just weird. I think I wrote something here on my little notebook. I got my notes today. And like I think I wrote something about because those who don't want to hear you will always make excuses for why they don't want to listen. Yeah, I want to bring that up. So I made that point because, you know what I mean, when we get to a point where we're blaming a whole other group of people about some bullshit that we're dealing with or we dealt with, you know what I mean, and we're arguing, we're back and forth. Like I've seen it in the comment section of these posts, you know what I mean? I've seen it. And some people get real mad, disrespectful. Like they really get ignorant to the point I've limited the amount of social media time that I'm on here. Like I'll post what I need to post. I'll be like, all right, follow this content, do whatever, da 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 da. I might interact with some favorite friends and stuff. I might whatever, look for some recipes. I keep my time very minimal. And Sometimes the algorithm helps me with staying and seeing what I want to see, but then sometimes I'll go in other places, and because my worldview is different, um there's some ideologies that I have that are liberal, some that are conservative, and some that are pro female, some are not so pro female. Like they all over, like they just all over the place. I don't just fit in one little small box. Like there's always gapping or whatever you want to call it, interloping. I don't know the word, whatever the word is. But the point is that they just all over the place. And sometimes I'll see some shit that I didn't want to see, and it's just going back to this, like I look at the comments and the stuff that, like I said earlier, when I posted the emoji, little smiley got like laughing with the tears. That triggered somebody because they were already ready and angry and pissed off. And I'm a female and I'm black, and I reminded this person of why they hated the group that I belong in, one of the groups that I belong into, and intersectionalism, whatever that's the word that I was looking for, intersectional. And because of that, he was ready to blame somebody. And I've seen this for a long time. This is not new. This ain't new. I had somebody, I mentioned something like, they were like, yeah, these girls got fake everything, even fake eyebrows. This is when people started to wear their eyebrows like this. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm happy thick brows came in because I got thick eyebrows. I have to shave and do a lot to get mine to be smooth. Back in the 90s, I was slicing them damn near off. I'm so glad I ain't gotta do that. Now I gotta just worry about this little middle unibrow and I go about my business. But the point was, I guess bro saw that and he started talking about like I'm this and that, and it's like, you females this, and bro, you don't know shit about me. Stop grouping me up with all this other trauma that you got going on. Yes, past fucking trauma. And they'll group everybody on based on that. And then what was the last thing somebody said? It was like, oh well, high value women. What the fuck is a high value woman? My thing is, what you value is going to be different than the next person. And I think a lot of times these people who are heartbroken and traumatized and fucked up don't know what they want. So they look to the internets and get somebody like Andrew Tate or whoever to tell them what they want. You can't want what that man wants. He got a lot of money, you don't. And if you don't got the money that he got, and I'm gonna talk about that too, you can't sit up here and be like, oh, well, she got to bring this such and such to the table. Well, that might conflict with what else you really truly want. She got to be submissive. Let me tell you something, bro. I don't mind listening to you, submitting to you in a way that works for the both of us, because we have to submit to one another in some shape, way, form, or fashion. We got to listen to one another. A lot of times people don't want to fucking listen. You know what I mean? They don't want to sit up there and know what their partner wants. They don't even know what they want. So bro was just like, oh, well, I want a girl. He basically wanted Susie Homemaker. And I'm like, that's what's up. Like me personally, I come from a long line of women that did that. I was raised by a woman that was born in 1918. So a lot of my values and ways are more old fashioned. Now, of course, I'm old. I'm basically the border of millennial and Gen X. So my worldview is different than my grandmother's was, but I still got a lot of that training. And I also was raised around my grandpa. So what did he show me? He showed me how to work on cars. He showed me how to do a lot of stuff with my hands. So I grew up in a world where there's a lot of motherfuckers that couldn't do shit for me. And then I grew up with the women, oh, well, I don't need men. And then, I got attached to a motherfucker that was like my father, I guess, and like my parents. And that's further solidified my view. But instead of looking past that trauma and looking at the trauma that my parents put in me, you know what I mean? I started blaming the men and I started on some other shit. But the point is that I just had it in my head. I was like, oh, I'm independent. I don't need nobody. The fuck I need you for? And I be looking at what people say, and I'm like, it's not many fucking females that can sit up here and cook a whole Thanksgiving meal, and then like the following week is under the car changing her own fucking oil, and then after that, her kid comes to her the night before, the day before a whole thing in the class, and be like, "Mommy, I need cupcakes for 2 classes. How many is that? Oh, it's like 30 in my class and 20. I gotta make 50 fucking cupcakes. Let me hurry up and run to the damn market and do this because Betty Crocker's gonna have to help me out today. I ain't making them from scratch. And I say that because I speak from personal experience. But the point is, it's not many females that's going to do that. It's not many men that ain't going to get out here and build a fucking house. So my thing is, know what you fucking want. Know what you can do. If you want the Susie homemaker, fine. But if you want a modern woman that goes out and works just as fucking hard as you do, don't come home and be like, babe, why you ain't fucking cook? First of all, the person that can cook the best is cooking. Like I cook good, but I don't want to cook all the time. Because if you sit up there and wait for me to cook after I work 10 hours and then turn around and taught a fucking two fitness classes on top of that, and all your ass did was work your 8 hours, did absolutely nothing. And I come home, you talking about what's for dinner. I'm going to slap the ever living shit out of you. And I'm going to walk out that door. And if Chipotle is open, I'm going to Chipotle. Give me chorizo sofritas. That's what I get because it ain't got no meat in it. But I'm sorry. We gotta compromise. We gotta meet our partners halfway. We gotta know what we want and meet them halfway to an extent because we don't live in that society anymore that supports a one paycheck household for the average person. I'm not talking about the 2% of the American population that can do that. I'm talking about the average Joe. The average Joe that's making anywhere from let's say 50K to 100K. Because even 100 fucking thousand dollars is not enough to really support a household on a typical day. It's just not. It's not. I'm just not. I'm sorry. So I'm keeping it being like I'm like if you want a house in a semi decent neighborhood, even in Kensington, houses are selling for 200,000. That's the worst fucking neighborhood in the city. My neighborhood. Shit, a lady just got shot on my block. You know how much the house is getting sold for around the fucking corner? Yeah. So like I said, it's a lot that people want, and they don't want to be compromising and you know what I mean? They don't want, like I said, because those that don't want to hear you will always make an excuse for why they don't want to listen. They don't want to listen to what you bring to the table for real, because they don't want you to sit up there and ask, they don't want to be asked what they're bringing to it. But that's just my opinion. I could be wrong, but that's how I view it. And I see it a lot because I get a lot of these motherfucking people that they be DMing me, they be blocking, reporting my shit. The minute I say something that doesn't agree with their narrative, is oh yeah, you hate men. No, the fuck I don't. I don't hate no fucking body. Hating people takes a lot of energy that I need to use other places. So no, but the point is that, bro, these bros, what they need to stop doing is hating every female based off of the fucked up female that they were with. And this goes for women. Women, you need to stop doing the same. Every person that you were with, or every person you come across, is not the person that you were with. And if they so happen to be, like I said before, look past that trauma from your childhood to see what fucked you up and led you to gravitate towards those types of people in the first place. Because otherwise, you're gonna be sitting on the internet listening to somebody like Andrew Tate, alleged. I don't know if he hasn't been proven he's a sex trafficker, but regardless if he is or whatever he's doing, you know what I mean. I don't think he's the person that you want to idolize. Okay, if you want to look to him for fitness, maybe he smokes. So I don't know. Maybe that's not something you want to idolize. Then on top of that, my thing is like I notice how when people get themselves into some shit, they always quote the Quran, the Torah, the Bible. You know what I mean? Like, yep, facts. Judging people from your own unhealed trauma. Yep, yep. That's what we doing. That's what we doing. So, like, I don't know this guy to judge him from a can of paint, but I noticed that's what I said. They always do that. But my thing is that, and I grew up around a lot of religious, important folks. And I'm not Christian anymore. I grew up in the church. I'm not Christian. But when I think about the shit that I talked about today in the personal hymn, I think about what's that, James chapter 1, uh 8. I know it's something about hold on, I'm about to think a double-minded man. That's what reminds me of these what you bring to the table. And you tell them what you bring to the table. Well, that don't mean you think you better than me because you got a degree. You think you this, you think you that. Like, damn, I can't fucking win. It's gonna come to me. I'm about to just look it up because I ain't like I said, I'm not Christian. Even though I grew up in the church, I be knowing some stuff. And it was just weird to me. I'm gonna find it somewhere. All right. Some about a double-minded man, they just fucking unstable. And I was like, it just reminds me, a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. I knew it. It's something like that. I knew it was gonna pop in my head. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You can't sit up there and say on one instance, as a female, what she brings to the table, and she tells you, oh, well, you know what? I like to cook, I like to clean, I'm a stay-at-home mom, I'm a Martha Stewart the shit out this house. And then you be like, well, damn, you ain't gonna work. Da, 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 da. But you said you want a submissive woman to do these things around the house. Like, stop belittling housework. That shit is no fucking joke. But then if she sit up there to the same extent and she says, well, I work, I have degrees, I make money, you know what I mean? We ain't gotta, we can work as far as keeping the house up, we could travel because we're not worrying about funds and that type of shit. And then you be like, well, you can't be submissive to me. Oh my effing God. Bro. So I said this episode was going to be short, but I guess I lied. Females, ladies, my divas, to those of you that are looking for, I guess, hetero type of situation, you can't sit up there and say you want a guy to pay all the bills, you want him to do all this stuff, and you are not playing that. You want a traditional guy. You can't say you want a traditional guy and you're not going to be traditional for him. You know what I mean? I'm not saying which one is right or wrong. You can't say that you want that and you're not. This man working and paying all the fucking bills. He comes home and it's Kool-Aid and ramen noodles waiting for him. What? Let me tell you something. Like, oh my God. I remember a funny story. I remember somebody was asking me, like, do you do the meal planning with the nutrition stuff? And this is the reason why. I had a story for y'all. Homie was like one of the guys that I remember was trying to get into like fitness and all sorts of stuff. Was like, yo, I will pay you to cook for me I just need 4 meals a week. That's a lot. I was like, well, I guess if you buy the food and you give me like $20 to cook each meal, I got you. He was like, what? I said, first of all, dude, if you don't like that deal, you are always more than welcome to go to Wendy's. So he took the bait, he took it. I was like, I got you. And I'm not giving him some shit out the jar. Like, bro, you just got marinara sauce made from fucking scratch. You got garlic bread. Only thing I didn't do was make the bread because the bread maker was broke. And I'm not doing that shit nothing. But anyway, the point was, got you. What pasta? I was like, Mom, I was about to make the pasta, but I just bought it out there. I ain't gonna sit up here in line and be like, oh, I made the pasta from scratch, even though I do know how to. You got pasta, you got different. I'm going to like different websites and I'm like, all right, I know you got hypertension, so let me look up foods that you can eat. I know that within your diet, because that's what we got to do. As when I was studying to do the dietitian thing, I'm kind of gravitated away from that. But anyway, I was like, got everything made sure with within his health, uh, goals and everything, and it went downhill from there. Bro was cool with the food. He was like, "Oh, it was great." So he was actually getting me business, telling other people about the service. I was like, "Yo, I don't cook for everybody. This is not. I'm not trying. I'm not doing that. I'm just a nutritionist. I point you in a direction to tell you what to do. I'm not cooking for everybody. I'm just. This is a special deal I got for you. Don't be telling people that I don't feel like doing all this fucking cooking when I come home." So that was my mindset. But I was like, you're paying me. I don't want them to pay me. I don't want that. This is not what I want to do. He's like, but the food is so good, bro. You about to lose your cook. I'm not a chef. So anyway, long story short, his wife finds out that he's getting these meals and she gets very angry with me. Yeah, I done started World War III between this man and his wife, and I ain't even do nothing. I'm literally getting paid as a nutritionist, dietitian and study at that time, and I'm getting cussed the fuck out for doing my fucking job. So then that's when I decided I will never fucking cook for another person ever again. Not no married person. And then I was like, I told him, I said, dude, the only thing I can't cook for you is anything that's not kosher. I'm not touching no shellfish. I'm not touching any pork. You know what I mean? If it ain't kosher, if it's in Leviticus and they saying I can't eat it or touch it, I'm not touching it. And he was like, all right, cool. You want some crabs, you better go somewhere else. So I had him. Then he was eating steak, lamb, all types of stuff, chicken. And I'm like, yo, I had to get my thermometer because I don't eat none of this shit at the time I was eating chicken. But the point was I'm doing all this stuff and I'm being like really good, customer service. But this chick cussed me the fuck out. Why the fuck you feeding my man? Bitch, because you're not doing it. And he's paying me to do it. I'm not doing it as someone that's trying to get in your take your place. I'm doing it as a professional courtesy to a client of mine that was suffering from hypertension and he wanted to work on that. And outside of the stress, his health was getting better. So why are you coming at me? I'm saving young man life. But whatever. So anyway, back to this. Um, that's why I said never the fuck again. Nope. Nope. So lady, you wanted this like what I reason why I brought that story up was because she wanted that traditional man to pay the bills, to make sure that the house that she sat in all fucking day was taken care of. But you're not cleaning that house. You're not making sure he's fed. And I don't really believe in the 3 meal a day system. I think that's very counterproductive to health. I think you should eat when you're hungry, not just you want to be greedy and just eat, but like eat when you're actually hungry. Do a little intermittent fasting, get your health right. But the point was is that you should be feeding your man. Don't be mad because somebody else is doing it. Next thing you know, you're gonna be at fucking Outback, cussing the lady out at the Outback because they done served your man a steak that he bought there. Make it the fuck make sense. Yeah, she wasn't giving that same energy. Comment says she wasn't giving that same energy. Then you mad someone else. There's an old saying, and a lot of old heads used to say that it's a toxic way of thinking, but it's true. What you won't do, somebody else will do. So if you want to keep your man, you better do what you're supposed to do. Don't get mad somebody else do it. Not even just in the kitchen, other rooms of the house too. So there's that. Go back to this. I said I was going to talk about Mr. Tate for a little bit. And I don't understand why people idolize this man. I understand his money, his looks, and da-da. It's usually money. Like, I don't care what a person looks like. They can have an okay face and body, but when they throw on money, they throw that money in there. Oh my God. My thing is, bro is calling to the heavens and God and this and that and blah, 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 blah. And you know what? Even if the crimes he didn't commit were wrong or he's just vindicated of all those crimes, my thing is, bro, it's called humility. And one thing I learned in my teachings, like for example, I always look at the story of Solomon. Yo, bro was out here tripping back in the day. And God was like, you know what? You need a little bit of humble sauce. Boom, fall of Solomon. That's basically what it was. When you get too much pride, you get this slap upside your head. And instead of just saying, you know what, let me chill, because I was out here tripping. I was talking about people. I was being an asshole. I was out here smashing this one and smash. And this has nothing to do with being poly, by the way. Whether you love the poly life, polyamorous, polygamy, and all that other stuff. This has nothing to do with this has to do with lust. That's the 7 deadly sin. Boom. You know what I mean? Christianity, Judaism, Islam, they all talk about lust. So you can't be out here, oh, I'm gonna smash this chick, I'm gonna smash that chick, I'm gonna smash this chick, and I'm a whole lot of money, and I'm gonna buy this and I'm gonna buy that. Dude, that is pride, that is lust, and all the other sins, probably except for gluttony, because that's about being, eating all the food and stuff. But you can't do all of that and can't have that energy out here and think you're gonna get far. And then people are idolizing you. Idolizing anything and anyone is a fucking sin. I'm sorry. I don't care. I'm not trying to get holy on here. Y'all know I ain't holy at all. But I know my teachings. I remember, matter of fact, this is a holy time. We got Ramadan, we got Passover, and we got Easter. Good Friday. It's Good Friday. All these things are coinciding. So you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna take the Single Chronicles to church today. I wish I had some tamarines in here. But it's only right. Like, you can't have this type of energy out here and then get mad to, oh, the world hates me because I'm telling the truth. No, the world hates you because you're a fucking asshole. And you can't talk about people, humans, other humans that God created. It baffles me that people be like, oh, I love God, I love the Lord. But you sit up here and talk about his other creations like they trash. Like, You can agree or disagree with anybody's lifestyle or who they are, what they are, but at the end of the day, that's still a human being. They bleed, sweat, piss, and poop just like you. And you have no right to sit up there and judge them for anything that they do like you perfect. Because nobody out here perfect. I guarantee you that. They not. So, you know what I mean? He sits up there and talk about, oh, a high value woman. Are you a high value man? Because just because you might got some money, that doesn't make you high value. You know what I mean? You could be an asshole. Even a female that is a virgin. Like, let me tell you something. I lost my virginity late in life, but I was a total fucking asshole when I was younger. I was an asshole. I was a terrible person. And just because, according to traditional stuff, oh, she hasn't, the streets ain't had her, da, 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 the streets probably would have threw my ass back. I was a terrible person. Like, I was nice, I was cool. But at the end of the day, I was a terrible person at times in my life. And don't get me wrong, I've changed, I became a better person, but I had to really sit there and stop and think about the type of person I wanted to be. Then I got pregnant like, to the second person I've ever been with, and I'm like, "Well, damn, I guess I won't be seeing the world." But the point was is that it happened, and it kinda humbled me a little bit. Sometimes we gotta go through some shit to humble our character, humble our spirit, and humble our soul, and knock us down a few pegs, and tell us to chill the fuck out. And that's a person, I think that's why he's going through what he's going through. He might never did any of the shit. He might have been in the Michael Vick situation. Not that I'm comparing the two there, but you know how Michael Vick got convicted with the dog thing. My man was over here. He playing football. It was before he was with Atlanta Falcons. My man is traveling all across the country throwing footballs. He not fucking fighting no dogs, but guilty by association. They was in his property in his house, and this might be a similar situation. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer, and I'm not trying to. I'm not going to sit up here and break down this fucking case. But the point was, is if it's alleged that he has done these things, and there might be some truth to it. This is not a person that you want to idolize. We want to idolize people that are shitty people because their ideologies align with the narrative we've created in our head, which takes away the accountability of the type of person that we are and the type of people we allow in our life. So when you start allowing these fucking people in your life, you start gravitating towards shitty ass people and they start doing shitty things to you and you're not healing from that past trauma, and the shit going back even back to the kids, going back to when your parents, the shit your parents might have did and might have not seemed serious back then, or you might have even not noticed it. Like something like comparing your kids to other kids in a way can be toxic to them later on down the road. We don't even know. You know what I mean? It don't, and it could be all these kid birth and parenting manuals. As a fucking parent, let me tell you something. Now. If I was to ever have a child, not that I'm not, I probably might fuck that up too. Like, don't get me wrong, my kid turned out pretty good, but when looking back, it's a lot of shit that I shouldn't have done as a parent. Just like it was a lot of shit my parents shouldn't have. Well, there's a lot of shit they damn sure shouldn't have did. But the point was, you know what I mean? There were a lot of mistakes that were made. And there were a lot of things that affected me in my adulthood that until I got into my 40s, I didn't know was a thing. And I'm sure there are a lot of other human beings that are walking around with that same type of energy and that same fucked up mindset. And instead of dealing with that, because it's hard to swallow a shit sandwich and look at the mirror and be like, damn, I need to do better. It is harder to do that than it is to sit up there and just blame everybody else. Oh, it's everyone else's fault. I'm perfect. It's the women out here, it's the men, it's the dogs, it's the cats, it's the weather, it's the government. It's everybody but me. That's not how life works. Take accountability for the type of people you allow in your lives. And if you haven't done it in a pattern, because I had to do it, even if it isn't a pattern, even if you notice, oh, I haven't always dated these types of women or men, you know what I mean? Because I dated some people, I was like, I never dated someone like that. But sometimes you got to take the lesson that comes from that. What red flags did I ignore when I was with that person that allowed for them to be in my life for as long as they were in my life? You know what I mean? Like I always say, compatibility over chemistry any fucking day. If you are not compatible with the person that you're with. Y'all don't got no interest that y'all fucking like. She just got a fat ass or he just got a big dick. That's not gonna fucking last. Cause guess what? You're gonna get old and shit ain't gonna work like it always. You might not refill that blue pill in time. She might have some hormonal shit or estrogen pills. Her estrogen might be fucked up. Then what? Now we ain't got shit in common. We don't even like each other. We don't even vote the same way. You know what I mean? Like it just won't work. Ask those tough questions up front. Like, you like kids? Who you voting for? You know what I mean? Like, look, what we doing? Like, you vegan? You not vegan? Like, what? You work out every day? Like, no, and that's the icebreaker. We're not talking about that. Like, what was your relationship with your parents? What was your relationship with your siblings? What was the relationship with the people that you fathered or mothered children with? What was the last 3 relationships like? Like, I'm going in. I'm going in. By the time we're gonna get done, look, I've worked in human resources for the better part of 20 years. And I kind of like bounced around from that in finance and stuff. But we learned first thing they tell you when you interviewing people is to ask questions based off of the role that this person is going to play in the organization. So when you go into dating, make sure that the questions that you ask are based off of the roles that that person is going to play in your life. If it's going to be a somebody for just right now, you ain't got to ask as many questions. You just got to make sure they ain't got nothing creeping and crawling down there. But if it's someone you intend on spending a long time with, ask them fucking questions. Ask and get to know the type of person that they are. Like, or and it could be what type of sex do you like, or what kinks do you have? Like, yeah, start asking that shit at some point because it's going to come up. Like, if I'm in the kinky shit and your ass is vanilla and you're not in kinky shit, it's not going to fucking work because then one of us is going to have to compromise on our ideals, values, and our views, and I'm going to feel bad if you're not into the shit. Everything ain't 50 Shades of Gray. It don't work like that in fairy tales and stuff. So if we're not on the same page with a lot of stuff, and I'm not knocking anybody for not being into the shit that I'm into, and vice versa, I don't want nobody to knock me for being into the shit that I'm into. But we gotta make sure we're on the same page, so we ain't wasting each other's time. And with that, to get a 5x7 cup. Yo, let me tell you something. It's not this notebook, but I got a book. I think I'm gonna write. That's gonna be my next. It ain't gonna be no horror story. It's gonna be a story. Questions to ask on the first 3 dates. Cause I got one. The first date, you get these certain amount of questions. Then the second date, you get these second, and then sometimes you get the question. You get certain questions before even the first date. Like, I have questions. I'll ask them, "What is it that you're looking for?" 9 times out of 10, when someone tells me they haven't found the right person, that's a red flag to me. I don't know why. Every time someone has said that to me, that they haven't found the right person, they out here just flipping and flopping it and everything. And I just that just is I don't want to say it's a trigger. I haven't found the right person. That's not what I asked you. I didn't ask you that. I asked you, what type of person are you looking for? You said I haven't found the right person. So that means that you're not looking, you're just bouncing deep, 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 deep. Speaking of which, I can't wait to see Mario Brothers. But the point is, you're hopping in this bed and that bed. You're not looking. You're not looking. The reason why you ain't found somebody because you ain't really looking. And you ain't answer my question. You dodged that shit like a fucking ball in gym class. So yeah, I got a book. Evil Dead 2. Yes, I'm gonna go see that. So let me conclude this podcast right here. Stay tuned for the Writer's Reflections if you're listening to this on the podcast, on Spotify, or wherever you're listening to right now, because we got that coming up any second now. Thank you so much for tuning into the Single Chronicles. I know today's topic kind of got a little heated. I get so worked up about certain things. I was live on TikTok as well. So we talked about passport bros. We briefly discussed Andrew Tate's release. And I didn't really want to talk too much about him, his issues, and the case or whatever. Because he's in another country. Their laws are not our laws. Romania, their laws are not unconstitutional because they don't follow the Constitution. And as far as him, like, he's just not, a person that I think boys or men should idolize. That's not someone I would strive my son or my nephew. I don't have a son, but if I did, that he's not someone that I would strive my children, my males, to be like. And he's not a type of person I would want somebody like my daughter or myself to be with. I just don't. And it's not because, oh, we can, he likes a certain, it's because that energy is just so toxic to me. And we look to people that permeate our negative connotations of people that hurt us, that we don't look past the hurt. These people were lacking love in their lives, and it showed. It showed so much. It's like a bleach stain on a black t-shirt. And because of that trauma that they refused to get over and they negated, and those demons that they had that they never dealt with, they choose to project that. And because, again, it permeated and it helped with stereotypes, here we are. So as far as, this was not an episode that I want any man or any woman for that matter to get upset and think, oh, she's male bashing again. I'm not male bashing. This entire episode, if you listen to it, and in this entire, even if you just stopped here, it's about taking personal accountability and healing. You can't heal until you're accountable. It's like when you go to the doctor, and I always bring this up as a reference, until they diagnose what the problem is, they can't treat the problem. You can't blame every future female or every potential female or potential male or relationship and project your insecurities, your hurt, your pain onto them, because what's going to happen is you're just going to repeat the same cycle. And I always go back to this, right? And I always ask this question to a lot of the people that I come into contact with on this subject matter. Did the relationships that you were seriously in, the ones that you loved or was attached to that person, how long did they last? Did they last about the same type of time? That's because the same type of person put the same type of energy. And when you do that, it becomes a thing where now you're not only not healed, you're not moving on, but now you are hurting someone else. And now you're going to put them into a cycle of trauma. So I always say heal and really search. And it's not one of those don't look to thine own self type of situation or whatever. It's about getting help. Reaching out to a friend or someone professional. If you got a toothache, you don't go to your barber and say, hey, my tooth is hurting. You know what I can do for it? You know what I mean? Like, you might say, all right, take some Advil or I've said Advil a lot today. They should pay me. Anyway, it's not saying go to CVS and go get some over-the-counter drugs. It is telling them, go see someone for that. But we never do that when it comes to emotional stuff. We never say, you need to talk to someone about that. And when we do, people act like it's such a faux pas. It baffles me how people look at the world of psychology, and we're never really truly getting to the root of the problem. And not every psychologist, therapist, psychiatrist, or whatever are the same. You know what I mean? They're not. We're all different. We all have different issues at the end of the day. So, and we all need different people to treat those different issues. We can't sit up there and say, oh, well, that last therapist didn't work for me, I'm never going to go to therapy again. That's like saying, the last doctor that I went to never worked out for me, I'm never going to a doctor ever again. The last mechanic that fixed my car made it worse, I'm never going to a mechanic never again. Or I'm never buying a car never again. Like, no, you don't take it that far. You just figure out someone else that can assess the issue better and fix the issue and go from there. And then therapy is not a one-size-fits-all type of thing. And it's not something that's you're not going to undo 40 years of trauma in 3 hours, 3 1-hour sessions. It's not going to happen. So I want you to take away what you can. What I always tell folks: heal, get therapy, and focus on doing you. As far as the passport bros, I'm happy that you guys got your passports. Utilize them to learn cultures of other places, to learn history, to take some cool pictures, to see the world in a different light, outside, beyond your backyard. And do that. Don't focus on just, oh, I just want to go find a wife. We so hell bent on finding a wife, you don't know who you bringing into your life. So I want to thank y'all again for tuning in. I really do appreciate you guys. I love you guys so much. Be sure to follow me on social media. I'm at insomniac_writer on Twitter and TikTok, and on Instagram. And you can find me wherever. You can also find me on Facebook under that too. So thank y'all so much for tuning in. I love you guys. I'm going to end this and conclude this like I always do and say, be awesome, be you, but above all else, love yourself. All right, guys, take care.